Okay, boom, we're live. What's up, bro?
Hey man. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3. We are back.
We are back.
Combustible brains on air.
Combustible Brains on Air is back, baby. Let's go. So, today we are talking about China. Actually, we are talking about Indians banning Chinese apps and Chinese products, which has happened recently. Kind of unexpected, out of nowhere. So, this just happened. Yeah. Ra, walk us into it. What's happening? What's happening with the Chinese-Indian situation?
So basically there was a border standoff few days ago, I think start of May. I'm not exactly sure. So and coronavirus, I guess people are pissed for that also. So I think these two reasons are like all of a sudden on WhatsApp and all the social platforms there have been a huge surge of ban Chinese related things. So
Oh God. I mean, just one small point here, man. I don't think like we should blame China for that coronavirus. Fucking viruses are trying to kill humans, regardless of who we are. These motherfucking viruses, they always kill us. So, but that said, Chinese government, please do not invade my country. That's not cool. So
yeah, exactly. And
please
don't kill
do
our
it.
soldiers, obviously.
Yeah, man. Just go. Enjoy your fucking Facebook, Instagram situation. So looks like this is why people are pissed, and it is certainly like natural to be emotional about such things, especially if your city, if your town, if your village gets invaded, and then
Anyone will
somebody
be
shows
pissed.
up and you're like,
Exactly.
dude, I mean, I would be fucking pissed. Like,
Same here, man.
imagine somebody imagine somebody walks into your apartment and they're like, you know what, the kitchen is mine. Fuck off, man. The kitchen is not yours. The kitchen is still mine. So fuck off, from my apartment. So don't do that. India is a country, don't invade it. So this whole this high emotion thing, I don't think it is reasonable for people to get super emotional about these things, because at the very basic people level, like you and me level, like we can't really do much about governments fighting each other, which is basically what this entire thing is always about.
Way beyond our
So-
control, actually. So
Right. I mean, imagine like a guy that's in, an Indian restaurant. He does not want to invade like a Chinese restaurant, and neither does a Chinese guy want to invade an Indian restaurant.
yeah,
they
I
just
think this
order
is
a
not
coffee
about
shop.
Chinese people also, I think. And Chinese people have been, I mean, there's nothing against them as such. It's more of the way the Chinese government handles things internationally. I think that is what people get pissed off more about than the Chinese people themselves, because Chinese people must be fine. I mean, they must be doing their own job daily, doing their own grind, whatever. I mean, they must be pretty much the same as we are.
Exactly, man. I mean, everybody just wants to live their life in peace. So that said, this is a very real problem. I think I saw this article. The first time I found out about this was I was reading The Verge. Not a big fan of The Verge, but I was reading an article on there.
Yeah.
And it said, and it said, there is this app in India which is called Ban China app, and it was really like poor. Like even the English in that app was bad. Like you are China,
Oh, is
something
it?
like that. It was kind of crazy. Yeah.
I never tried
And
downloading
I
it.
think neither did I. I just read this online, and people installed this app on their phone, and I believe what it did was it deleted all Chinese apps from their phone. And then at the end it gave you a pop-up saying you are now China free, or you're China
Oh,
app free, or
damn.
no China app found, something like that. It was kind of crazy. So I think
That is pretty cool,
Right, like
actually,
that
to
is-
be
that
honest.
is-
It's like
yeah,
it's like you're China free.
that is
Live your life now.
that is such a baller move. Yeah, right. And exactly. And I think Google then banned the app, because I think that is a violation of their policy, which I guess makes sense.
And Google
mean,
got scared, I guess.
and Google got scared. Probably some fuckers are probably paying Google off. Who knows? So they got scared. So that app got removed. But I think the sentiment has stayed. I think people are still doing this, get rid of China app thing in India. And honestly, like when I started looking into it, like I don't even know what Chinese apps I have. So I had to look it up.
Yeah,
I
there
think
was
the
a list,
biggest
I
one-
think, right?
There was a huge list, and I could not identify any.
Yeah, I
like,
was
most
using
of the
none
apps on
of
that
them.
list.
Yeah, I was absolutely using not a single one of them. So
The Same here. And the only one that I really knew of was TikTok, because I think TikTok is a very popular short video app, I think, which is, I think, honestly, I think this is, here's my theory on TikTok. I think what happened is all the generation, the new generation Z, whatever it is called, they are actually now pissed at all the millennials for basically spamming entirety of Instagram. So if you're now a super hot, girl or guy on Instagram, getting popular is very hard because I think there's so many more out there. So I think they were like, fuck this, we need a different app with a different theme.
Yeah,
so they
where the
to TikTok,
where the visual standards aren't so high. So because let's be honest, I mean, Instagram has like one of the highest visual standards. So
dude, if an alien were to land on Earth and they were to scroll through Instagram, they would be like, holy shit, Earth is filled with fucking hot
fantastic
people. Like,
fabulous people.
This is like, they would invade Earth. If aliens came to Earth and they're like, Instagram represents humanity, they would like immediately invade it. They're like, all of these people are super hot, we need all these people on our side. But that's not reality. And I think Instagram, I'm sure I've never posted like, these how do you call it? There's like, I mean, you and me, we are not influencers, right? So we don't know all these things. But apparently there's a whole like category of filters designed to make you look better on Instagram. So like I think it smooths out your skin, all this stuff.
Yeah, I think Chinese phones also, I think, give a lot of camera filters and beauty filters and all of those things. I think.
So anyway, I think what happened is all these people basically got tired of this bullshit on Instagram, and they're like, we can't get popular here. So they started posting short dance videos on TikTok. I think they went viral. So, and then the TikTok
with
people,
no standards.
they started posting with no standards, and they post this TikTok shit then back on Instagram. So
really,
see like created on TikTok, it'll be in an Instagram story. So that's the only reason I know TikTok. But man, that's the only one I knew. But apparently, and maybe you know more about this, we were talking about this offline, right? We were talking about Share It. Another application I had no idea about. I had no idea this existed.
Man.
But apparently you do, right?
Yeah, man. Share It is one of those typical apps which kind of were one of the first, I would say, to have Wi-Fi based file transfer. So before that, it used to be always Bluetooth transfers, right? Before that, infrared transfer, if you remember those times. So
oh my god,
yeah,
that was insane.
Yeah. So Bluetooth was
dude, you're making me feel old, man. Fuck. I do remember
dude,
that.
we are old, so
having
let's not kid ourselves.
That is amazing that we remember something that most people don't even know. I'm sure most listeners to this podcast have no idea what we are talking about. Just for everybody's understanding, you had to keep your phones next to each other and
facing each other.
The phones used to the
infrared sensor. Yeah, the infrared sensor should be able like line of sight basically.
Exactly, and it used to like literally transmit stuff through infrared, through encoding stuff through infrared. And
do you remember when Bluetooth came along? It was like mind blowing. Like one song was transferred, like one 3 MB song was transferred in like 3 minutes. It was like, whoa, bro, not 20 minutes, but like 3 minutes. Like holy shit.
3 minutes, holy shit. So looks like this Share It, these fuckers have now created a Wi-Fi based thing. Yeah.
So Share It was one of the first ones to come with that Wi-Fi based file transfer, right? So it became widely famous in India and I guess maybe China also. I'm not sure. So Lenovo is the maker of that app. And that's not the issue with the app. The issue with the app is the sheer amount of permissions they take from you. So on Android, literally every possible permission you can give an app on Android, Share It asks that. And it's like everything, like your microphone, your camera, your call logs, your contacts, I mean, location, every damn thing. And people are like, next.
App reading call logs, man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like people are next, and install, give me Share It. And people, like, we'll talk about the permissions and privacy in a while, but dude, people have no idea the amount of shit Share It takes from you. And then it came even on iPhone actually, so it became even cross-platform. So iPhone people finally had a way to share things with Android people. So Share It is like crazy, and everyone thinks, I don't know, like I have no idea why people think it's safe and secure or the de facto standard, but somehow Indians at least are super comfortable with share it. Like every time I say I don't have share it, people give me looks like, dude, share it nahi hai tujhagade. Like, I mean, that is always, they are like, dude, you are so inconvenient to share things with. I'm like, dude, do you even know the permissions they take from you?
Oh man, God. And this is the
crazy
difference between, man, I think this is a difference between, you know, like, I don't think people in the West realize how people in the East use phones. Like, people actually, it's actually different. So, like, here, most of the stuff goes to Instagram and Facebook, you know, whatever, Snapchat or iMessage. But, you know, in India, in like Asian countries, people actually like sharing stuff with each other. You know, like, you may be sharing pictures or like music.
Offline
whatever.
things,
like,
and that
phone to phone.
Right, not
exactly.
posting
So there's
it.
a big market for this. Yeah. This is just going from one human to the other, right? Like, there is no posting it online, not going through the internet. Like, it's point to point, peer to peer.
And I think even for songs and things like privacy, like, piracy, I meant, like, for in US, for example, people have been buying songs for years now, right? They rarely do they cut songs. Like, I think they don't. I mean,
I'm sure it happens a lot, but it's just it's just
not
easier
as
to get
mainstream.
a Spotify subscription.
Exactly.
No. Yeah, exactly. And I think there is also no DMCA laws in India, as far as I know. So, like, people can do whatever the fuck they want, which in a way is like freedom. You know, like, it's true freedom. You can do whatever you want. On the other hand, you face all this bullshit. So I think I think we'll talk about that permission stuff in a little bit. But one point to address here is, you know, the people, I mean, even no matter how emotional you are, and let's say that you as a human being really wanted to get rid of all these Chinese apps, it still doesn't make sense because you're still using Chinese phones. I think, you know, the Chinese share of phones in India is so high that it is almost pointless. Right? Like, it's pointless to think that, like, you can simply get rid of Chinese apps and then you can somehow retaliate against the Chinese government or the Chinese people.
Exactly.
It makes no difference.
Chinese hardware, right? Especially. Like, there's literally no alternative to Chinese manufacturing here. And if you just count the number of companies that are Chinese, like, I think BBK Electronics, which will include OnePlus, Vivo, Oppo, Realme, then there's Xiaomi, then there's Honor, Huawei. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And if you look at it from the other side, like, I was actually, before buying my previous phone, I was like, let's see, like, and this was long time ago. Okay, this was like 2-3 years ago. So I was like, what all companies are there who are not Chinese, like the companies themselves. I'm not talking about where the phone was made. So it's literally Nokia, like HMD, and there was one other, Samsung, LG. I think so that's about it, right? And iPhone. And iPhone, that's different.
And iPhones. So, I mean, this is what I'm rocking as my current setup. I have an iPhone and a Samsung S20. But, you know, these are expensive phones. So, like, if in the more value-based market, which is a lot of the Indian market, which is, you know, more value for your money, there is literally no choice to Chinese hardware at this point. So, like, you have to buy Chinese hardware.
And the Chinese hardware is actually fantastic. Like, it is genuinely good phones. Like, the quality of hardware they give these days is not like, you know, there was a time when Chinese products used to be cheap and plasticky and all of that. But now, damn, man, it is refined, well made. Even iPhone will feel ashamed at times. They're that good. Like, the displays and all, especially.
Dude, I saw this phone review on YouTube. It was called Poco F2 or F3 or something like that. I forget.
I think it was F2
It's the new version of the Poco phone.
Yeah, F2 Pro.
And I was just looking at this video. You know, we are techies. Like, you know, we enjoy this stuff. So I was looking through the video, and this phone was incredible value for money. Like, they had the latest chipset. I think it has, right?
Edge-to-edge screen and all.
Can somebody Google it?
Yeah,
edge-to-edge screen. I don't know. Let me Google it, actually. Let's see. F2 Pro. Pretty sure this fucker has like a Snapdragon 865.
Oh, it does.
Look at this.
Snapdragon 865, Snapdragon I think 6 or 8 GB of RAM, 128 GB storage or something.
Crazy. 6 gigabytes of RAM, or there's a 256 gigabyte 8 GB option.
And there must be like some 7 or 8 cameras or some shit.
Not quite, but there's still 4 cameras, quad camera setup. A 64 megapixel camera, 5 megapixel, a 13 and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Holy fuck, it has a depth sensor.
Yeah, most of them are shit actually, but that's
yeah, I'm sure
for the consumers, like, that's like, bro, 4 cameras, bro. Come on, bro.
Dude, it's insane. It's insane. And the price on this one, US dollars estimated, is $471. Now this, hardware wise is comparable to $1,000 iPhone easily. So because even the iPhones don't have like some of the features that these thing has. I think it has an infrared sensor, which is a real good troll sensor to like turn off TVs and stuff.
It is so
anyway,
useful, man.
This is and it has fucking Wi-Fi 6. Like the list goes on. So the
and
point
a
here is,
headphone
like,
jack.
China and a headphone jack, fucking headphone jack, man.
Oh, gone are those days.
I mean, at this point, exactly, man. It's like, at this point, like, if you present this option to an Indian customer who is already super value conscious, I don't blame that guy or girl for making this choice, buying the Poco F2 Pro, whatever the fuck.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, cool. Like, right? So,
I mean, for most people,
that.
like for most people, buying a Redmi 8 or 9, or I don't know which is the current Redmi, but say Redmi 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Redmi 8, like I bought that for my grandmother actually like 6 months ago. Okay, so that phone for like 9,999, like for 10,000 rupees, for a common person does almost, or rather I'll say more number of things than a 1 lakh rupee iPhone 11 Pro does, because it's way more convenient to use, as in you can share things, you can illegally download music and play it, and it has infrared sensor, 3.5mm headphone jack, this, that, bigger screen, whatever. Like, point is, for the average user, the Redmi Note 9 will be way better than even an iPhone, right? For what, 1/10 of the price? I mean, that is not
crazy.
Something you can bargain with. You cannot say that, dude, price doesn't matter. Dude, 90,000 rupees, the difference is there.
No way,
it's
man.
Crazy.
And just to put this in perspective for people who are listening in the US or elsewhere, this 10,000 rupees, Indian rupees, is approximately 80 to, not 80, it's $200. It's $180 to $200. So it's a $200 phone. So it's probably not even $200.
It's lesser than that.
Rate is, I think, 70. Yeah, it's maybe like $150. Cannot beat that price. You really cannot beat that price.
64 GB internal storage and shit.
Yeah, come on. I mean, I don't even know how they make them that cheap. So, I mean, we should just accept at this point that Chinese manufacturing is here to stay. You can't really get rid of it. And I actually want to like separate this, like this emotional thing from what people should actually be doing anyway. And I think we were talking about this, like some time ago, like, we talk about permissions a lot on these phones.
Yes.
And, I think it's super important that people know, like, what do you think?
Exactly. So, I mean, few minutes ago, we were talking about Chinese hardware, right? How they can make it so cheap. So, obviously, they are doing business, right? So, they have to get the revenues from somewhere. And especially Xiaomi, for example, they have openly stated that they won't have profits from their hardware. Okay, like few like 2-3.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so 2-3 years ago, they announced on stage that they are going to cut down profits on their hardware to like 5% or like 1% or 0 or something like that.
Holy shit.
So then the only other way they can make money is through services, okay, and through ads, to the revenues from that. And the way they do that is all about, it's all data basically. It's these days, all these things are about data. Like all the, for the manufacturer, they just get money once when they sell you hardware, but they keep making money from your daily usage until and unless you use until you keep using the phone, right? So coming to the permission,
do you think like they sell? Just to ask you one question, like, who are these fuckers selling all this data to? I guess. I mean, let's say a Chinese
wouldn't they
company,
sell it to, right?
Install TikTok.
I mean, everyone is interested in data these days, right? Everyone from including American companies also, right? So Chinese phones are huge. Like Xiaomi must be selling the data to everyone, including Facebook, Google, Microsoft, what not, man. I mean, and I bet you it must be like dirt cheap. Like I was reading somewhere that like your data's value is actually very, very, very low. Like they,
I mean, let's Google that, but I think it was like super. I
think
it was like
unbelievably
$10.
cheap. Like I would have paid money any day of the week if all the gadgets were, privacy focused and they just asked money, and I would give that money so readily. Like I'd give like 1,000, 2,000 rupees. I don't know, like per month or something.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Like, I would happily pay
that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Whatever that cost.
Whatever that subscription is.
I think it's very small. Yeah.
And I doubt it is anywhere more than like few.
Pretty sure it's like $50. Yeah. Something like that. I mean, we can put it in the show notes after, we'll do
Oh
some
yeah, we
research
should
after
actually.
the podcast.
Yeah, or we can maybe
it's like,
talk
what is
about
the
it
cost of
later.
data?
Yeah, maybe some
Yeah,
podcast.
so something like that.
So
we don't know. We just know it's cheap.
Exactly.
But yeah, back to your permissions.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So coming back to permissions, basically. So, what permissions people need to understand that when they install apps, it asks you for permissions these days. Like on previous versions of Android, it was automatically granted. Okay, but for the past few years, Android has been asking you, the end user, the permissions. And what most people do is
okay. So
yeah.
Ra, sorry to interrupt you, but let's say I'm a dumb user that does not care about. I'm not a techie. Let's assume that I'm.
Yeah.
When do I? Let's say I go to App Store, right, and I want to install TikTok to share with my friends or something like that.
Yes.
When will I see these permissions? Like as an end user, when should I be watching out for these things?
If your app is built using an old type of application, you will see it while you're installing the application, like at Play Store level itself. But most, like 90% of all applications that I've installed are asking permissions as and when you need them. So when you open the app, there are like 3-4 permissions that the app asks you off the bat. Okay, and most of them are like so what you should do is, firstly you should check what they are asking. Okay, so say you're having an app that an app that say records audio. Okay, and if that app is asking you for your location permission, or if that app is asking you for your camera, you know right there and then that is shit, right? Because that app is meant for recording audio. Then you should see if,
I mean, imagine like somebody telling you like, I want to record your audio, but you know what, give me your call.
Yeah, maybe you can also give me your camera
text
permission and I
messages,
can spy on you. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. How about I start your camera every now and then? So it's like these fuckers. So
yeah,
I think this is where it matters the most.
Exactly. So this is common sense, right? So when you're installing an application, you should like very sparingly give permissions. You shouldn't just go on clicking yes and like most people I see doing like just yes and get me into the damn app, very impatient about it. Like I've downloaded say TikTok and I want to upload some shitty video of me dancing or something. And then I'm like, dude, take all the permissions and then let me upload it. And
dude, you know what would be
crazy.
A great fucking idea? Sorry to interrupt you, but I have to interrupt you here. You know what would be a great fucking idea? If some motherfucker figures out, an app that gives people privacy focused permissions. So let's say like this app is installed in the background and then you install TikTok and then this app overlays over your screen and it says like click here, like literally points.
Dude, that's
saying,
actually a good app idea.
Here, right?
Yeah.
Just think about it. It would be fucking awesome.
And
like it just says like I've detected TikTok, click here, boom, you're done. Like that would dumb it down to the point where everyone
should be able to do it. So that's really a good idea. So until that happens though, make sure you know what permissions you're giving and say so what I like to do is say I've given permission on WhatsApp for audio call, okay, or video call. So after I'm done with the video call, say I don't need to have a video call every day. So after you're done with the video call, you go into the settings and you can always disable the permissions that you have given. So all of these, and this is by the way applicable even on iPhone. Okay, it's applicable on iPhone and Android. I'll talk about the iPhone part in a second. So basically it's not like once you give the permission you're dead. Okay, so you can always go into the settings and you see the entire list of permissions that you have given. And at like every few weeks I like to do this, even on my phone, even when I know what type of applications I have installed and what all permissions I've given to the apps. I still like to go back into settings every once in a while into apps and check what all permissions I've given in apps. And Android has
super important,
and Android and iOS has come such a long way now that you get a nice consolidated view on both, like say microphone. Okay, so you can check all the apps that are giving microphone permission. So it's not like you have to go in every app's settings or every app's page and check that what all permissions. No, it's the other way around. So you can check, okay, microphone, camera, location. And this is also important on iPhone. Okay, so guys, anyone using iPhone, I've like heard this explanation from many iPhone users that iPhone is very privacy focused, or
I think it's a very
Yeah.
I mean, it is generally better than Android from the factory, let's say.
Yeah.
But the moment you install
Exactly.
Facebook on it, that whole game changes.
that game is exactly leveled. Like you have absolutely no
Yeah.
difference between your Android counterpart using the same Facebook app and you. Why? Because you essentially have officially legally given Facebook permission when you install the app. Like when you say enable or give permission or something like that, you give Facebook the exact same amount of permission. So this is exactly equally relevant on iPhone as it is on Android. And like PB said, maybe at the base level, like when you buy a new phone, yes, iPhone is way better. Like it's not even comparable. Like the amount of bloatware Android comes with, it is crazy, right? But as soon as you put Facebook or WhatsApp or Insta or anything on it, and you give the permissions, you are giving the exact same amount of permissions.
Then you're fucked.
Then you're
so
screwed.
that's the thing, man. Like, dude, like the one thing when I was like genuinely scared, I was talking to this, like person in China, and like I had to install WeChat to talk with this person.
Oh, damn.
And this was on my iPhone at that time. It didn't last like, this was maybe for a month, but it was genuinely scary, man. Like the moment you install WeChat can like
take everything.
I mean,
yeah, maybe they have your DNA
everything.
also.
Not just they know who you're fucking. They know everything. So maybe not, but really they do. Like
yeah, they do.
Like WeChat.
It's one of those
WeChat
super
has,
apps, right?
like,
I think WeChat is considered as one of those super apps.
It is insane. Like you can basically anything that you wanted to do online, you can do through WeChat, which means talking to people, paying people, calling people, video chat,
cab also, I think.
Dude, everything. It's like everything is on there.
Yeah.
It's also a social media app. It has its stories. Like it's a super app.
Yeah,
like
it is a
said.
super
it has,
app.
like,
yeah,
everything in it. And it says there, man, like it says there, like anything that you post on there will be monitored and like kept, for a certain amount of time. So the Chinese government keeps.
I think
so,
WeChat must be like Chinese government's most favorite app.
It is the best app.
The perfect way to control
they love that stuff. Yeah, they control their people, man. And the crazy thing is, people install this everywhere, right? Like anytime you have to talk to or do business with people in China, like people have to install WeChat. And it fucks you up. Don't do that. So I would say, like, honestly, if you were to install WeChat, put it on a separate phone. Don't put your real information into that phone. That's like one of those apps that really scare me. So
damn, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. So back to this permissions thing, I think the point that you mentioned, where like people should go in and check permissions, I think this is still a little bit too much for most people. But that said, use common sense. Like, don't go give permissions to, like an audio recorder, the ability to read your call log. Or, don't just, or if you use Instagram but don't post videos on it, maybe don't give it microphone access. Maybe don't give it, camera access. You can still use these apps. It's just that, whatever function that you don't use, turn it off.
Exactly. And the point of going in and checking permissions every once in a while was because so many apps these days cannot function even, having basic functionality unless you give some permissions, right? And say you have given a camera permission. It does not feel comforting to know that an app that you're, say, not using daily can just turn on your camera at any damn moment, even if it's in the background. And you will have absolutely no idea that app has actually accessed your camera. Like app shouldn't.
Scary, man. I mean,
app shouldn't, and they won't, I hope. But still, I mean, you have officially given the permission, so it's not illegal also, right?
Yeah, you are signing up for it. This is one of those reasons why I disconnected my Google Home. It just made me, I was not feeling it.
Oh yeah, I've thrown away Alexa. Yeah, I had bought it when it was new, that Echo Dot thing. Yeah. But man, I threw it away so quickly. I'm like, this shit. Yeah.
Like these fuckers are listening all the time, so I don't want that. So get rid of that. The other thing that I want to address here is, what people do. So people just one of the main things people do is like talk to each other, right? Like they want to connect with other people. And I think most of the people use iMessage or WhatsApp or standard text messaging is still a thing in the US. Like literally nobody else in the world uses standard text messages anymore.
Yeah.
But in the US, people with Android phones still do it, which is probably one of the worst ways to talk online. Right?
Yeah, it's zero encrypted.
Like text messages, like there's complete bullshit. And I think like I have transitioned a lot of my friends to Signal now, which personally I love. I mean, of course, Ryan and me we are big fans of Signal, but there's also like other other friends that are on it now, not so tech savvy friends.
So for people, I think who don't know Signal, I think you should also tell what it is about first.
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, the first time I found out about Signal personally is from this Edward Snowden thing, right? So Edward Snowden used Signal
his interviews.
To talk to people. I'm like, yo, what is this? Let me check it out. So I go download the app, and at that point, actually, it had a shitty UI, but I think it's improved over time. But the magic of the app is, they do a lot of fancy encryption stuff in the background. Maybe one day we'll do like a tech deep dive, that'll be a different audience. But
I think Signal protocol, right? I think something like that.
Yeah, it's Signal protocol.
Which WhatsApp coincidentally uses.
I don't know, man. I mean, they say
they use it, yeah.
WhatsApp source code is not open source, so who the fuck knows what they actually use, what they actually change.
No idea.
So I would just say exactly. So Signal is peer reviewed by very smart people. Like super smart people that like
devs who know what they're doing.
I'm just happy that they know what they're doing. We don't, but like I trust these people. So my trust is in these people that they know what they're doing. It's peer reviewed. And they peer review the source code, they peer review the math that goes behind this encryption, etc. But the main point to make here is whatever you speak on Signal is end-to-end encrypted by default. And what that means is nobody, not even Signal, can spy on what you're saying. So, you might be talking to a friend of yours about, a movie, or you might be discussing, something super controversial. It doesn't matter. It's private by default. So that's the biggest point here. And the thing here is like, many people say like, why do I care? Like, I don't give a shit about the government reading my stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, why should I care about privacy?
But here's the thing.
I've not done anything bad here.
Care, right?
I've not done anything criminal. So, privacy doesn't affect me. Well, I think that's like a really, really wrong train of thought, right?
It's so wrong. I mean, just think about this extremely simple example. Let's say you're meeting with your friends, right? And let's say a stranger just comes in and just sits in right in the middle of where you're sitting with your friends. You're goofing around, you're talking, you're doing
random shit and not something important. Yeah.
It's not important. You're not, taking over the world or anything. You're just talking about, fucking Netflix. But a stranger just comes in and sits on a couch and like out of nowhere, doesn't talk to you, is just listening all the time. Would you rather have that stranger there or not? And that's the thing that we're really talking about here,
It's a
and these
fantastic
strangers
example,
are governments.
man.
Like, I mean, it just makes no sense for that stranger to be there. Like, why the fuck should you be there? Like, fuck off. Like, go home, man.
Exactly.
So
and that's exactly what governments are, right?
That's exactly what governments are. So they're listening all the time. So Signal makes that private. Signal locks the door, basically. It like locks the door for anybody not to come in. And it's a soundproof room. You can speak freely. I think that's the biggest thing there.
Exactly.
So use Signal. I think the biggest takeaway, if you take nothing else from this podcast, absolutely nothing else, the one thing you should do is install Signal on your phone.
Yeah, it's as easy as it gets. Go to your Play Store or App Store and just click install. That's it. It works exactly like WhatsApp, except without the privacy issues.
Or like iMessage or Telegram. It works like any other app. The threshold, like this learning curve is basically zero.
Yeah,
all you have to do is just install it and boom, you're done.
Exactly.
Zero, man. And then get your, closest friends on it and just secure your life, man. It's just like, it's a peace of mind. It's a peace of mind thing. Like, when I call my friends, I call them on Signal now. Why? Because,
always.
It's just better. Yeah. I mean, why should I take the lesser, the less better option?
Right.
Like the worse option.
Exactly.
I can't believe I said less better.
and let's just say that WhatsApp is encrypted with Signal protocol. It is a known fact that the metadata isn't. So like people say that the chats, like that's one argument I keep hearing from some of my friends, that yes, it is encrypted, right? It is end-to-end encrypted. Let's just say it is. We have no idea if it is or not. But the metadata about you, it still tells surprising amount of things. And for the people who don't know what I mean by that, it means that it, like Facebook, can record every other action you do on WhatsApp apart from the actual text. But that is such an important information, like how many times you come online, when you come online, who you're actually texting. It doesn't matter what you're texting, but who you're texting. And this integration is there in Facebook. Like I've seen so many times, like this has happened twice or thrice till now, that I spoke with a completely random person. I got a number, I spoke with a completely random person, and I went on Facebook, okay, and there's like and a generic last name, okay, it doesn't even have to be a specific last name, a generic last name, and I searched that, and Facebook shows that person at the top. I mean, if that is not integration, then I don't know what is. And that is just through metadata.
It is crazy. The other thing is like the metadata is just data about data, right? So it's like, let's say the classic example that's always given is, let's say you call your spouse, right? And then, you immediately 10 seconds later call your girlfriend that you're cheating on, like like the wife you're cheating on, and then you make another phone call to another girl that you're also cheating on. Let's say you make these 3 phone calls, right? Like if right, like if you were to do this, and if somebody looks at it and he's like, okay, cool, first he calls his spouse, first he calls his wife, then he calls his girlfriend on the side, then he calls this other girlfriend on the side. Like this guy is up to no good, this like this fucker is up to no good. He should have used Signal. That's basically what it comes down to.
PB is not recommending that.
I'm not recommending.
He's not endorsing that.
If you're a douchebag, I'm not endorsing that. But shout out to douchebags. Why not? So, if
it's our podcast,
if you're a douchebag, who cares, man? Like it's your life. Like do whatever you want with it. But especially if you're a douchebag, use Signal. I think that's the most important.
Bottom line is
trying to tell you.
Use Signal.
Yeah, if you're the kind of person that sends nudes over the internet, definitely use Signal, because then only
Though I think that kind of undermines what we have been talking about. So guys, Signal is obvious. Like jokes apart, Signal is not for for people who like do these things, like what we were talking about privacy few minutes ago. Like you should obviously care about it, even if you're talking like normal random shit, like about like kid stuff, say Cartoon Network. Default code. Yeah.
It should be the thing that you talk to people about. So the talk with that's the app that you should use. Just don't think about anything else. Install Signal. Be done with it. That's if you take away nothing else, take this away from this podcast. Install Signal. So cool. Cool, man. I think we we talked about a whole bunch of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Let's wrap it up. So I think
to conclude,
let's just go through the list. So don't be emotional, and
not at all.
Although it is, don't be. I mean, even if you are, it's understandable. But don't take it out on people. Don't take it out on Chinese people. Don't take it out on any people. Like just focus on your
don't
life.
Be focused. Have like a specific your principles. Like I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that, and keep doing it for years. It's not like right now there's a conflict on the border and then you do it for like a month and then you forget about it. No, it shouldn't be like that. If you have a strategy, you follow it. Say you don't want to use anything Chinese, that's good. All the power to you. Just don't be emotional about it. Be serious.
Don't be emotional about it and do smart things. Like it doesn't matter if it's Chinese government or Indian government, American government. People are people. Focus on privacy instead. The second thing we talked about is permissions, man. Like Ra explained permissions in great detail. Turn those fucking permissions off for most things that you don't use. Just turn them off. Like just start there. Start at ground zero.
Like that one awareness, like that tiny awareness itself will make a huge difference. Not just for Chinese apps, but literally for your privacy as a whole. Like you should always have that, like those fundamentals down. And it's not complicated. I might have made it sound complicated for some people out there, but trust me, it is like one of the easiest things. Like I think OSs are very polished these days, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Ra, how about this? Like, since you said it's not complicated, how about we drop screenshots of like where people can check permissions on iOS?
Yeah, definitely.
And, Android in the show notes. We can just drop, go to the screen, click here, do these things.
Or we can
do that.
Or easy. I can make a Rawire video of it. That's a good topic. Maybe.
Yeah. That's a good topic.
I can attach that link. Sure.
Like we can drop it in the show notes.
Exactly.
Create a video on it. Walk people through this stuff.
So video coming soon, guys.
And then, fuck yeah, baby. And then the last thing is permissions. We talked about permissions. The Signal.
I think we missed out on one thing Signal. That I think we were like something we should have covered is know what you're forwarding, right? I mean, people just end up forwarding things on WhatsApp, right? So I think that's one thing we totally forgot to cover.
No, I think that's a very good point. So be factual is what you were saying. Like, don't just read WhatsApp forwards and be emotional. I think this goes well with that.
Yeah, the being emotional part.
Whatever you read on,
verified.
Just verify it, man. Like, go online, do your research, read a book, about it. Try to understand really what's going on, as opposed to just reading, some sensationalized news. Super important point. I think we missed it, but next time.
Cool.
And then install Signal, man. That's one last shout out to Signal. Install Signal. If you take away nothing else, talk to your friends on Signal. Cool. So this is episode 3. Let's wrap it up.
It's been a pretty long episode, man. Almost 40 minutes.
Yeah. Fuck. But I think it was good. I mean,
fun.
It was a good episode. I had fun too. Cool, man. All right. See you next time, guys.
Thanks for all the people listening. So talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Yep. See ya.